everybody. Welcome to another episode of Global Solutions. Today, I am excited to be at the World Bank, and we're going to be covering the Global Youth Forum. And the forum really just entails bringing the youth voices to the table. And it's going to be a great day. Lots of interviews to cover, lots of young people to speak to. And everyone at this point is focusing on solutions. You know, what are the solutions to the youth challenges? What are the solutions to the issues facing young people around the world? That is what we're here to talk about today. And so I'm so excited. There are lots of speakers, lots of young people who have traveled from all around the world to be here. And so this is going to be an amazing day, amazing conversations, amazing interviews, and I am like beyond ecstatic to really hear from young people and also hear from, you know, the policymakers and other speakers who are going to be here at the forum addressing these youth issues. The World Bank is a great place to gather young voices and be the lead, you know, bring leading voices here. So I am looking forward to the interviews we'll have here, but this is going to be a great arena to have conversations about youth solutions in development. Thank you. Hi, everybody. So again, we're back here at the Global Youth Forum, and I'm going to be talking with Tayo Roxon. So Tayo, can you tell me a bit about your organization?
Sure. So I run a media corporation called UID Media, and we focus on helping millennials connect across cultures and also understanding what it takes to be a global leader in today's world. In addition to that, I also am the lead editor for a career discovery platform for millennials called Branded You, and we help connect millennials to careers that they're passionate about.
Okay. And so what is one major youth issue that bothers you the most, or youth challenge, and what's the solution that you're proposing to that?
I mean, you know, being from Nigeria, you know, I've always been annoyed and also always compelled to do something about the fact that we have such a large youth population, but a lot of them don't get access to a lot of information. So a big focus for me is education and providing free education to people that otherwise wouldn't have that opportunity. So whether it's creating free resources that we can disseminate all over the schools, or whether it's going to areas that have, you know, high poverty areas and just exposing them to what the world is like and the potentials that they have, when they grow up.
Okay, so education, free education to those in rural areas per se, and okay.
Education, and as well as gender equality. I think gender equality is something that still hasn't been tackled enough. And you know, whether it's with the women in Congo, whether it's what's happening in with Boko Haram and the ladies that haven't been able to get back home, that's still an issue that I really want to raise awareness for, bring back our girls. Hashtag bring back our girls. Yeah. But I think gender equality and education, for me, I think they go hand in hand, because if you're educated, you understand that everyone is equal and everyone should have equal rights, and I want to champion those.
Issa, how do you pronounce your last name?
Karamburi.
And Issa is from?
Burkina Faso.
Burkina Faso. So, comment ça va?
Ça va très bien.
That's a little French, I know. So tell me about your experience so far, being at the World Bank Global Youth Forum. What has today been like for you?
Oh, it was amazing, because I have a very fun, if I can say that. This is an opportunity for me to meet the youth around the world, explain their project, and change, contact each other. It was something amazing.
I hear a lot of young people that I speak with talking about networking. How is networking so important? Why do you think it's so important for you right now?
Well, networking is key. As far as a young person, when you come in this world, in this business world, if you don't have a network, if you don't have an idea, you don't have a platform to put your idea out, you're not going to go anywhere. Network is key. Without network, you're not going to get coaching, you're not going to get mentorship, you're not going to get funding, So network is crucial for you to actually be prosperous in this game.
Hello, Claudia. How are you?
Hi, Adedayo. Thank you so much for having me. So my name is Claudia Curvler, and I work at the Food and Agricultural Organization of the United Nations. So what we at the Food and Agricultural Organization are doing is we're standing in to eradicate extreme hunger, extreme poverty, and we're moving economic and social progress forward. What I do in particular, I focus on how millennials can use their difference to implement within their own communities. So I mainly focus on young farmers within agricultural and development nations on how they're going to be able to do better and sustainable farming. And I'm really excited to be here at the Global Youth Forum because it is about how youth and entrepreneurs in developing nations are able to foster and implement the change they want to see within their communities.
Thank you so much for that, intro, Claudia. So a bit about the UN FAO and how are they connected with the World Bank in terms of the mission and the purpose of fighting poverty and encouraging young people, pushing the youth agenda forward?
So actually both the World Bank Group and the Food and Agriculture Organizations of the United Nations are both international organizations that tackle to eradicate extreme poverty. Right now on this planet we have 800 million people who live under less than $1.25 a day. And many of those people are still lacking basic needs to access like food and right nutrition, to clean water and sanitation. So both the United Nations as well as the World Bank Group is working tirelessly to make simply the world a better place by introducing sustainable development goals. So what are sustainable development
Please
goals?
tell us, like this is the very right person to actually talk about the sustainable development goals because your work is central to the sustainable development goals and everything we've been talking about so far is around the sustainable development goals. So yes, please.
So the Sustainable Development Goals are 17 goals that were implemented after the Millennial Development Goals in 2015 ran out. They have a duration until 2030, and what the Sustainable Development Goals offer is a vision of a more fair, of a prosperous and peaceful world we live in where basically no one is left behind. And in particular, the Food and Agriculture Organization in charges with Sustainable Development Goal number 1, ending extreme poverty. As I've mentioned before, 800 million people live under the poverty line of $1.25 a day, and it also is in charge with tackling a zero challenge hunger. So it is my strong belief that we as a united youth are able to be the zero hunger generation. And it merely is not a challenge, but it is an opportunity to drive that progress forward.
Definitely. And I guess my final question to you is, how are the young people implementing these goals? We've heard it's too ambitious for these goals to be accomplished by 2030. Young people are the drivers of these sustainable development goals, So how do you think young people play a critical role in implementing the goals and in really being the 2030 change makers?
So what I can say and what I've seen in my work is that youth, both in developed and underdeveloped nations, have a certain spirit and a sense of fulfillment of the Sustainable Development Goals because they have something that maybe other generations were lacking, and that's a drive to change the world and to make the world a better place. So I have seen a lot of projects that young entrepreneurs are implementing both on a local, on a municipal, and on an international development arena. So I do know that despite having this spark and this energy, what they have is the right knowledge and the right education to know how to implement the Sustainable Development Goals.
So thank you so much, Claudia. One final word to young people, and how can young people also connect with your department within the UN? How can they connect, or if they're interested in learning more about your work and so on?
So young people are actually able, through channels like social media, Twitter, Instagram. I believe Snapchat is not part of the FAO's agenda yet, but you are able to engage through all these channels. And we do have our headquarters based in Rome, which does not mean that we're very Europe-centric, but it does mean that we reach out on a global level. So I strongly believe that you're the game changers and the agents to come, and I'm looking forward to see the Sustainable Development Goals being implemented.
I am with Nicole here. She was a moderator at one of the panels. Can you tell us a bit about the panel you moderated?
Absolutely. Thanks for having me. We talked about uncovering the dynamics of youth employment and entrepreneurship, which is a really critical issue in youth development as well as in economic growth writ large.
Yeah. So I wonder, who are some of the speakers you had on that panel, and also what are some of the takeaways from the panel?
Great question. So we had a rock star panel, I have to say. We had the co-founder of Educate, which is an organization that does skills and applicable learning in Uganda and other countries in Africa.
Yeah.
We had the co-founder of Invest to Innovate, which does angel investing and entrepreneurship development in a lot of countries, in particular in Pakistan. We had the co-founder of Suktel, which is really a great mobile-based platform that's trying to put together employers and employees.
Yeah.
And we have the Minister of Mali, who's the Minister for Vocational Education and Training, who really brought the government perspective. So we really looked at the key takeaways were trying to understand and really get a sense and acknowledge the fact that this is a really complicated challenge of youth jobs, and there's no simple solution, and it takes all of us, the public sector, the private sector, young people, social entrepreneurs, everyone, to come together, think about what's worked, and go forward.
So what are some of the solutions that they proposed at the panel? What's the real takeaways? Like living there, we know what the challenge is with youth unemployment.
Yeah.
What are the solutions they proposed?
So a couple things came out strong. Think about technology, leverage technology. At the heart of Suktel is the mobile, and we know young people have mobile, even if they may not have internet or if other kind of technology, connectivity, infrastructure is weak. Think about leveraging technology in terms of finding jobs and bringing people together, in terms of digital work and how digital opportunities can create new entrepreneurial and work opportunities. So that was a big one. Another big one was think about the market. We really need to understand and better align the kinds of education and training we're doing to what employers need. Soft skills, entrepreneurial skills, vocational training and education that really equip young people to go to work, to succeed, to start their own business. So those were a couple of the big ones.
Yeah. So I wonder, was there any talk about the 2030 labor force?
Yeah.
Like the changes happening and
Such a great question. And it's true. I mean, we're really only just beginning to understand what the impact of globalization, urbanization, migration, automation, the whole fourth industrial revolution, the way that's changing the nature of work. Not only the kinds of work people are doing, but how young people are working and the kinds of skills they need. So we're starting to unpack it. We are learning, for example, that young people that are moving from rural areas to the cities need to have a better sense of language skills, or young people that are moving abroad, they need language skills. They need skills in customer service because they may be working in the hospitality or the restaurant industry. So we're really starting to understand what all these big mega trends mean for the nature of work, work sharing, all of these different kinds of shared services for entrepreneurs and incubators and financial services, and just trying to understand and unpack the range of things and support systems that young people need. It's not only about skills, it's the broader support system.
Wow, it seems like there's a lot of work that needs to be done. The conversation doesn't end here.
Absolutely not.
What do you think is the future from here?
So, I mean, that's a great question. I think the future is about investing in a number of different things. Investing in young people that have solutions for themselves and for their communities.
We can't say that enough.
Can't say that enough.
Hi, Jose, how are you? And thank you for joining me here.
I'm really good. It's a pleasure to be with you today.
Yes. How has it been so far, being at the forum, and what's really, what's your take on being here today?
So this is a great event.
Yeah.
I'm from the Young America's Business Trust. We have been working with the World Bank to do a consultation process prior to the forum in order to get the voice of youth elevated from different parts of the world that couldn't make it to Washington, D.C. today. In that sense, the event has been a total success. We have been able to incorporate the voice of youth from all over the world, people that are not able to be with us today, and present their opinions, their inputs to all the panels, all the sessions, all the people that are here today. So it has been a really good event, and I'm really honored to be here.
Okay. So how are you able to take the voices out, the voices that couldn't be here today? How are you able to do that?
Sure, that's a great question. So basically what we did from the YABT, we habilitated certain channels where young people could go ahead and access this communication between them and the World Bank. So it's basically 4 channels. The first channel will be sending us videos. They would record themselves, and we would give them a couple of questions that they should answer in the videos. So it's a 2-minute videos that we shared with the World Bank today. Actually, just in that television a couple of minutes ago, we were sharing all those videos. So videos was the first channel. The second channel was a survey, an international survey we did. Every young people with a computer could go ahead, access the survey, and type down their inputs. The third channel was on-site dialogues. We helped them create on-site dialogues. So let's say we did a dialogue in Uganda, in Palisha, a town in Uganda, where around 35 young people came together and talked about the issues of this forum. The last channel was global virtual forum we did. We knew that some people weren't able to gather in the same place and dialogue. So we did a virtual forum. We did one in Spanish and one in English in order to reach out to all these people. And it was a great outcome. We generated about 1,000 inputs, and we're now compiling them into a report that we'll be publishing at the end of the month.
So what is one challenge that you've been facing with the work you're trying to do? And also, so far, like, how is there any like success stories from the work you've been doing that has really made an impact? But I'm asking about success story because I think it's so important that we know what's working and what's not working.
One of the major challenge for youth work is, investment on youth. So government is not investing a lot. Donor agency is not investing a lot. So there is a huge gap about the conversation and talk and speech and how much money we need to invest for the create a job, create a new kind of policy. So that we are not doing. That's a really challenge. One of the success back in the country is I'm also involved with the government to build the national youth policy and youth vision 2025. We secure women, 50% women participation in the youth council. That's one of our achievements. So this is really good achievement. So that we are not talking only about the youth. Same time we're talking about the young women issues also. So this is time to collaborate, engage all marginalized women, young people to build a nation, every nation.
I am with Nkechi, and she's going to tell us a bit about herself and what organization she's with.
Hi everyone, I'm a junior at George Washington University, and I'm currently here on behalf of ISIC DC. We're an international NGO present in over 127 different countries and 5,000 universities. And essentially what we do in DC is help people intern and volunteer abroad in so many different countries.
Oh, okay. And so how long have you been with the organization?
About 6 months now.
6 months. And so what's the experience like, and what major youth issue is it that you personally feel affiliated with as a young person?
So ISIC actually partners with the UN on their Sustainable Development Goals. So we have internships and volunteerships abroad directly related to the Sustainable Development Goals. My personal interest is in the 6 for 10, the number 10, reducing inequalities, and also clean water and sanitation, which is why I'm particularly interested in studying abroad in India, which I'll be doing in the fall. So I'm really excited about that as well.
So you're going to be studying abroad in India. All right, okay, so we're going to do this. Let's get a brief background on you, because you are Nigerian as well.
I am
And
Nigerian.
she pronounced her name as
Nkechi. Okay, I'll say it correctly now because
so I'm Nigerian as well, so I'm going to help you with your pronunciations. Nkechi.
Nkechi. I know,
That's if I got it right.
My mom says it, but I also have an American accent because I grew up in Baltimore my entire life.
Yeah.
So it's been interesting.
Have you been to Nigeria?
The last time I went, I was 12. I'm currently 19. So it's been 7 years. I would like to go back. That might be after India.
After India.
Yeah.
Well, it's been so nice having you. And what is because the issues that youth are facing globally is something that is worth. I mean, for a firm like this, it's worth championing. What are some solutions that you think could help the youth today?
We actually just discussed this. I think it's really imperative to have a balance between mentorship and social innovation. I think young people, and especially my generation, we have a lot of ideas, but it's also very difficult to carry that without having experience. So there has to be, I heard this word, intergenerational alliance, where people from different generations can learn from each other, and it's fluid learning. It's not just an older person talking down to someone or a younger person just like speaking out of their lack of experience. So I think that the balance between intergenerational alliance is really paramount.
Yeah. So the older generations can learn from the younger generation and vice versa. Awesome. I am with Michael, and Michael is going to give us a bit background on himself and just why he's here at the World Bank Global Youth Forum. So we'll love to hear from you, Michael.
Hi, everybody. I'm Michael Bompo, and I'm currently a PhD student at the University of London. And I also started a grassroots organization back in Ghana called Young People We Care. And mainly what we have been focusing on as an organization has been the issue of the Millennium Development Goals and how we get young people involved in the process. But along the way, my interest has diverted into youth migration and how we can, create platforms and opportunities for young people to tell their migration experiences. But then also moving away from the whole debate about the vulnerability of young people in the migration process, how we can see them as agents of change, particularly for young people who are in the diaspora, and how they can contribute their skills or resources, their networks and their ideas back to their countries of origin. I think that also doesn't undermine the contributions that they offer to developed countries, their countries of destination.
Okay. So you have a platform that tries to talk to young people about migration.
Yeah. So one of the things that we started as an organization, and that kind of stems from my initial interest in the area of migration with a field research that I did in one local community in Brekum in Ghana. And it was very much an eye-opener to me. As a matter of fact, someone growing up in a developing country where brain drain is one of the big topics for most governments, who think that, when people move, it kind of, drains the capacity of the country. So whilst I was, meeting people and interviewing them, one of the fascinating things I learned had to do with the fact that even when people migrate undocumented, having to go through the Sahara Desert, they come back with some skills and resources, maybe financial resources, and they are able to open up their small-scale enterprise. Some of these things which governments cannot, provide for them, even if, they stay behind. So there is that kind of motivation and the driver to, acquire some new skills, especially when you are not in the big cities, to have some of these.
Wow, it's been such an awesome day at the World Bank, talking to young attendees, talking to some of the speakers who were here. We've learned so much, from finding solutions for young people in education, networking for them. Part of the reasons a lot of the young people said they were here is to network and really promote themselves in terms of the work they are doing to make a social impact in the community or in the countries where they're from. So this has been an amazing day to really talk to people. We know what the issues are. We are championing for young people to be, because we are the solutions, to be the solutions. And so I am beyond words right now. Today has been a great day, really delving into the matters. And I hope from here that we can all have a takeaway to looking into youth solutions. We know what the problems are. Unemployment, the issue of climate change, the issue of forced displacement and migration and so on. Now we are championing young people that we are the solution and we need partners. I think the one takeaway from here is that from all of these issues being discussed, we need people to partner with us. We need people to invest in us. We need people to see us as truly the solution and no longer the problem. So I hope that can be a great takeaway. So if you're out there, see us young people as the solution and begin to invest in us and partner with us, because we are indeed change makers and game changers for our generation in this 21st century. Thank you. Until we meet again, I am your host, Adedayo Fashinu.